Another you, helping you be you. Another you, it's just another you.
Good evening, you're listening to GhostLine. If this is your first time here, we don't chase the loud stories. We don't dissect the obvious. We sit with things that slip through the cracks, the moments that almost don't register, the flickers at the edge of attention. Tonight's thread is simple, but unsettling once you feel it. What happens when attention itself starts behaving strangely, not vanishing, not failing, just redirecting? Let's begin. Over the last month, scattered reports have surfaced from cities that share nothing but distance. London, Sao Paulo, Chicago, Manila. No shared infrastructure, no shared power grids, no common broadcast network. Yet, at the exact same second, people in each of these cities describe something small and difficult to articulate. Conversations stalled mid-word. Traffic seemed to hesitate. A barista in Chicago said she forgot what she was saying mid-sentence while handing over a cup. A man in Manila described looking up from his phone because he felt like something shifted. A train conductor in London reported that for a fraction of a second, the platform felt quieter than it should have been. Not silent, just thinned. The moment lasted less than a heartbeat. And then everything resumed. No blackouts, no glitches on monitoring systems, no measurable disturbance in telecommunications. Engineers found nothing. What makes this interesting isn't the pause itself. It's that thousands of people reported it at the same timestamp, across time zones, across continents. No warning, no triggers, no connection. Most dismissed it. Coincidence, fatigue, collective suggestion. But a handful of people noticed something else. They described a feeling that everyone else felt it too. That's the strange part. Not the pause, the awareness, the sensation that you were briefly synchronized with strangers you'll never meet. A shared inhale, and then release. Hold on to that. Next, we move from time to presence, because if the first story was about a shared interruption, the second is about a shared familiarity, and familiarity can be more destabilizing than fear. Our second story comes to us out of Tokyo, one of the most surveilled cities on Earth. Every station, every intersection, every corridor lined with cameras. Millions of people move through those spaces daily. And over the past year, a particular figure has appeared repeatedly in archived footage. A man. Ordinary build, neutral posture, always standing where foot traffic converges. Not blocking anyone, not interacting, just present. Online communities began stitching together clips from different days, different stations, different months. Same man, always alone, always near the flow. Here's where it becomes difficult. Ask someone to describe him, hair color. It shifts. Age, somewhere between 30 and 50. Clothing, varies, but never memorable. Facial features, no one can agree. The strange detail is this. When shown a frame, many commuters say, yeah, I've seen him before. But when asked where or when, or how they know him, their memory collapses. Facial recognition software returned nothing consistent. No ID matches, no social media traces, nothing tying the appearance together. He exists in footage, he exists in memory, but he resists detail. Some readers suggest he's simply a man with common features in a large city. Statistically plausible, yes, but the tension itself isn't statistical, it's psychological. Because people don't describe fear. They describe the discomfort of almost knowing, that itch behind the eyes when your brain insists something is familiar but won't provide context. And once you notice him in the footage, you start noticing something else. Cameras tend to linger near him, but rarely on him, as if framing is drawn to proximity but not to focus. Which brings us to our third thread. Our third story is quieter. Journalists reviewing public rally footage across several cities noticed a pattern. In wide crowd shots, there is often a small region that no one seems to frame directly. Not blurred, not digitally removed, just avoided. Phones pan across banners, faces, signs, performers, but when the lens approaches a particular corner of space, the angle subtly shifts, almost reflexively. Sometimes a person stands there, sometimes it's empty pavement, nothing visually threatening, nothing obstructed, yet the footage rarely centers it. And when bystanders are asked about the area afterwards, many say something similar. I don't remember thinking about it. Not fear, not instruction, just absence of focus. A kind of unconscious agreement, attention sliding away like water around stone. 3 stories, a synchronized pause, a familiar stranger, a place that resists framing, different phenomenon. Same underlying question. Is attention entirely voluntary, or are there moments when it's guided? We're opening the lines tonight on this one. Have you noticed gaps? Moments that should have been captured but weren't? People who were present, but somehow never quite seen. If you have something like that, I want to hear it. Let's go to the first caller. You're on GhostLine. What's your name?
Marcus.
All right, Marcus, where are you calling from?
Ohio, small town.
And what caught your attention tonight, Marcus?
The third story, the one about the rally footage.
Ah, you got in quick. Tell me what happened.
We had this local music thing, outdoor stage, food trucks, nothing political, just a summer event. Everyone had their phones out.
Recording?
Yeah, everyone. The band, the crowd, their friends. And there was this guy standing off to the side of the stage, not backstage, just near it.
What about him stood out?
Well, that's the thing, nothing. He wasn't dressed weird, wasn't acting strange, just standing there watching. But later, when I went back through the videos that people had posted, he barely appears.
Barely?
Yeah, if he's in frame, it's like the camera drifts away, or someone steps in front of him, or the focus changes.
Did you try to film him directly?
I didn't even think to. That's kind of what's bothering me. I remember seeing him, I remember thinking, who's that? But I didn't zoom in. I didn't ask. I didn't even really process it. It's like my brain flagged him and then dismissed him.
And when did you start to feel unsettled about this?
2 days later, I was re-watching clips, and I realized I couldn't find a clear shot of him anywhere. Hundreds of videos online, not one solid image. And I started wondering, if we all saw him, why didn't any of us actually look?
And did you ask anyone else about him?
Yeah, a friend. Yeah, she said, oh yeah, that guy, but couldn't describe him. Another friend said, I thought he was with the band, but he wasn't. No one could explain him.
Do you think he was doing anything intentionally?
I don't think so. That's the worst part. He wasn't threatening, he wasn't hiding, he was just there. And somehow that made him invisible.
You said something important earlier. Your brain flagged him, then dismissed him. That's a very specific sensation.
Yeah, it felt like when you walk into a room and forget why you're there. You know something happened, but you can't retrieve it.
And now?
Now I keep thinking about how easy it would be for someone to stand in plain sight, never really be seen. Not because they're blending in, just because attention just slides off.
Marcus, stay on the line with me for one more thing. When you picture him now, tell me, what do you see?
Honestly, kind of blurry. Not visually, just conceptually. Like I'm remembering the idea of a person, not the person.
That distinction matters, because what we're talking about tonight isn't invisibility. It's something softer, a thinning. where presence remains but focus doesn't lock. Marcus, thank you for calling.
Yeah, thanks.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more of your calls. But before we do, I want you to think about the last crowded place you were. A store, a train, a park. Can you clearly recall every face you saw? Or are there shapes where memory refuses detail? We'll be right back. This is GhostLine. We're going to take some more calls. Okay, we're going back to the phones. You're on GhostLine. What's your name?
Lina.
Lina, you said you watched someone fade socially? I want to slow this down. When did you first feel something was off?
It wasn't a single day, it was gradual. I realized one afternoon that I hadn't heard Rachel's voice in a meeting for almost an hour. She was there, I could see her, but she hadn't spoken. And I hadn't noticed until that moment.
What made you notice?
She leaned forward like she was about to say something, then she didn't. And that hesitation caught my eye. It felt practiced, like she'd rehearsed being overlooked.
Did she used to contribute more?
Constantly. She was sharp. Quick. Sometimes too quick. But present. Now she waits longer before speaking. And sometimes she doesn't even bother.
When she does speak, what happens?
There's this half-beat delay. Not dramatic, but noticeable if you're listening. Like the room recalibrates before acknowledging her. It's subtle enough that you could dismiss it. But once you hear it, you can't stop hearing it.
Is it discomfort or disinterest?
That's the thing, it's neither. It's neutral. That's what scares me. No hostility, no friction, just diffusion.
Has Rachel changed outside meetings?
She laughs less. Or maybe people laugh less at her jokes, you know? I can't tell which came first. And I hate that I'm analyzing this like a weather pattern.
And has she noticed?
I think she has. Her posture shifted. She folds inwards more. Like she's conserving something.
Energy.
Visibility. And I caught myself interrupting her once. And afterward I thought, why did I do that? There was no reason. It was like my brain deprioritized her mid-sentence. Like a background tab auto-muted.
Do you think attention behaves socially like gravity?
Yeah. And hers weakened. Or maybe ours shifted away. I don't know which is worse.
If attention is a current, someone always ends up in the eddies.
Exactly. And now I'm terrified I could drift there too. That it's not about personality, it's about alignment. And alignment changes without warning.
There is a cruelty to quiet recalibration. We prepare for conflict. We prepare for rejection. We do not prepare for dilution. To be disliked is to be defined. To be ignored is to dissolve. Social structures are not solid. They are fields, pressure systems, magnetic arrangements we pretend are stable. But what if they shift constantly? What if attention is not earned or lost, but redistributed like power on a grid? And what if no one is in control of the switch? Let's take another call. All right, we have Daniel. Daniel, you described a pause on a subway platform. I want to revisit one detail. You said you weren't sure if you were moved during it.
I can't tell if I was frozen too, or if I was the only one not frozen. And that difference matters.
Why?
Because if I froze too, then it was collective. If I didn't, then I was at a sink.
Which possibility disturbs you more?
Being at a sink. Because that would mean the world continued, and I didn't. Or worse, that the world paused and resumed, and I lagged.
Like drop frames.
Yeah, exactly. I keep thinking about the sound. It went thin, like the station inhaled and forgot to exhale.
Did you feel fear?
Not immediately. It was more like disorientation, Fear came a little later, when I realized no one else reacted.
Have you had any other moments like that?
Small ones, yeah. I'll be walking in a crowd and feel like I misstepped rhythmically, like I'm half a second off everyone else. No one bumps into me, nothing obvious happens, but it just feels off. Like there's choreography I wasn't taught.
And you're improvising while everyone else rehearsed.
Exactly. And the scariest part? No one looks confused, only me.
You wrote down the time, 4:17 p.m.? Have you checked whether others online reported anything at that moment?
I searched, found nothing, which makes me question whether these pauses only become visible if you're tuned into them.
Or if you're the only one permitted to notice.
That idea makes it worse.
Notice the pattern. Lana describes a colleague losing social mass. Daniel describes losing temporal rhythm. In both cases, the shift is subtle. No alarms, no spectacle, just misalignment. In each case, the most destabilizing factor is isolation, not confirmation, no second witness. When reality changes alone, doubts become the loudest sound in the room. All right, one more call. And we have Naomi. Naomi, this empty corner on the platform, how crowded does it get?
It gets pretty crowded, especially during rush hour, almost shoulder to shoulder. Except for that spot. It remains open like an invisible pillar.
Have you tested it repeatedly?
For weeks. Different weather, different days, same results. It's like collective agreement without communication.
When you stood there, you said people avoided you. Was it immediate?
Yes. It was subtle but synchronized. A man shifted his briefcase, a woman adjusted her stance, someone behind me stepped sideways without even looking at me. It was like it triggered a silent protocol.
Did you feel unwelcome?
Not unwelcome, just, I guess, unregistered. Like I'd stepped into a blind spot.
Negative space doesn't announce itself. It shapes what surrounds it.
That's what this feels like the platform is arranged around absence. And now I can scan everywhere. Cafes, sidewalks, elevators. I see pockets forming around certain people too. Moments where no one makes eye contact, where conversation skips a node. And now I can't unsee it.
Well, thanks for your call, Naomi. All right, we've spent the night tracing spaces people avoid, presences that resist recognition, and attention that thins without notice. Tonight, we close this chapter with what happens when those currents converge, how patterns repeat, how small omissions echo. Let's hear from our next caller. You're on GhostLine. What's your name?
Rhea.
Rhea. All right. Welcome, Rhea. What are you noticing tonight?
I think attention doesn't just drift. Sometimes it curves around certain people, certain places. You don't notice it until it hits you.
Give me an example, Rhea.
There's this cafe I go to. Morning, noon, or night. Certain tables are almost invisible. People sit around them, order, leave, but no one occupies them for long. Sometimes it's a person sitting alone. Sometimes it's empty. The air just flows around it.
Like the table or person exists outside the current? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. And the strange part, sometimes I feel drawn there myself. Like I should sit there. But the moment I do, the current shifts again. The room resumes normal rhythm. I don't know why it chooses me or anyone.
That is kind of interesting. That subtle choreography happening. You are participating, but the pattern is bigger than any individual.
Yeah. And I've tried explaining it to friends. They think I'm imagining it, but then when they go, they notice it too. Some part of the environment insists on being tracked or avoided.
And when the pattern shifts, it feels like a warning?
Not danger, more like guidance. A gentle nudge that you can't name.
Guidance without authority. That's the oddest part.
Exactly.
Thank you, Rhea. That's the kind of observation we need tonight. All right, we're going to line 1. Michael, you're on. What's your story?
Hey, Jillian. This one's a little more social, work-related.
All right, go ahead.
There's a new guy in the office. That's not the unusual part. Everyone treats him like he's part of the furniture. People speak over him, or pause when he starts talking. Sometimes his emails don't get replied to.
And you noticed this pattern?
Yeah. At first I thought it was him. Maybe he gives something off, bad vibes. But he doesn't. He's normal, smart, polite, friendly, and still the currents avoid him.
It's a social void.
That's a perfect phrase, and sometimes I catch myself doing it too, steering my focus elsewhere without realizing it.
And what happens if you confront it? Try to bring him into a meeting. Include him.
Momentarily, the current resists, the room pauses, then it adjusts. People keep talking, but unevenly. It's like the rhythm was never meant to include him fully,
That's attention as a system, not personal, not malice, just allocation.
Yes, exactly. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it.
It becomes a lens through which you observe everyone. A subtle metric of inclusion or omission.
Yes, and it's exhausting.
I hear that, Michael, but it's crucial. Documenting it is the only way to see the pattern. Look at what Ray and Michael describe. 1, a cafe table that organizes itself around presence and absence. Another, a human current where attention of colleagues moves as if choreographed. Neither one is accidental. Both reveal structure, both reveal invisible weight of attention. All ebb and flow. This is a reminder. Presence is not only physical, it's acknowledged, measured, often unconsciously, and sometimes absence is deliberate, or at least patterned. We cannot control this flow, but we can notice it. And noticing changes the game. All right, we're going to line 2. Elliot, welcome. What have you seen?
I think this ties it all together. The thinning, the avoidance, the silent shifts.
All right, tell me.
All right. I work at a festival. Cameras, reporters, hundreds of people. I notice the same spots avoided, not randomly. And the same faces. Some people get filmed relentlessly. Others, there's nothing.
Like a social or spatial algorithm?
Yes. And it isn't just cameras. Conversations pivot. I slide past people. It's like some collective editing process. I thought it was paranoia at first, until it repeated over 3 events.
All right, and did you attempt to break the pattern?
I tried standing in an avoided spot. I tried speaking over someone invisible. The space around me resisted. People unconsciously corrected, realigned.
That's fascinating. And a little unsettling.
Yeah. I can't explain why, but it's everywhere. Patterns, currents, not conscious, not enforced, but undeniable.
Thank you, Elliot. That is the thread we've been following tonight. All right, attention moves. It's subtle, hard to track, but it has mass, weight, and influence. We've seen spaces avoided, people unnoticed, rhythms misaligned. Nothing catastrophic, nothing dramatic, just shift. And tonight, if you've been listening closely, you may have felt it yourself. Moments of misalignment, steps slightly out of sync, conversations that drift without you, a glance sliding past someone you should notice. These are not hallucinations, not exaggerations. They are the trace of a system we are a part of, willingly or unwillingly. And if you watch closely enough, patterns emerge, currents form, edges become visible, absences become landmarks. Notice them, not obsessively, not fearfully, just observe, because when enough people do, the map reveals itself. And the map doesn't erase, it doesn't punish, it just shows you where the attention flows, and the flow matters. Tonight, we followed currents through cafes, offices, platforms, streets, and festival grounds. Tonight, we traced subtle choreography, people not seen, places avoided, patterns repeated, and if you pay attention, you may find yourself in the flow, or just outside of it. Either way, you know it exists. This is GhostLine. Same number, same hour. Stay with us. We're going to commercial.
What do you see when you see your face? Mirror plus it shines with grace. Ooh, tap the glass, let your confidence show. Mirror plus